Guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ricky. This is Free Our Republic. I think the name speaks for itself. If you guys have not been following the drama surrounding UFC 250 at the White House, you probably should, because there's a lot going on. So let's start with Sean Strickland. Now, anybody who doesn't follow UFC probably doesn't know who Sean is, so let me explain it to you. Sean is the current reigning middleweight champion. And not only is Sean the current reigning middleweight champion, but Sean is the only American champion on the roster. About 2 days ago, Sean received a call from the UFC higher-ups that the White House security team did not clear him, and he is no longer allowed to attend the event, and his tickets have been revoked. Now, Sean is a very big proponent of the First Amendment, as any American should be. And Sean has been critical of our administration and our greatest allies administration and what is going on in their region of the world and the influence that it seems that they have over our government. And because of this, the White House security team would not clear Sean for the event. The only American champion in the company is not allowed to attend an event at the White House because he uses his First Amendment right of freedom of speech. If something doesn't sound right there, it's because it's not. We have the First Amendment for a reason, and punishing Sean for speaking his mind in a country where we are supposed to have free speech is a problem all within itself. But let me play you Sean's response, and it'll probably give you a better idea of.
But I got the call.
Give you a better idea of why Sean was asked to not attend the event.
I got the call. The UFC higher ups called me, big names. And they said, Sean, I gotta apologize, but you're not Israeli enough to go to UFC 250 Israel edition. The White House didn't clear you, and I'm not really surprised. I'm not really surprised. So, I think moving forward, I would like to just apologize to Israel. I'd like to say I'm sorry. I'd like to apologize to Trump, and I just want to prove that I'm Israeli enough for you guys. Like, for instance, whenever the list disappeared, and Trump goes out there and says to everybody that he can't really go into it because people that by association will get prosecuted and their names will be tarnished. I want to apologize because I don't want them to be prosecuted. Or when Trump goes and bombs the fuck out of Iran that no Americans agree with, that cost Americans $5,000 to $15,000 to go fight Israel's war. I want to apologize.
Yeah, just so everybody is aware, current estimates are that the ongoing conflict has now cost the American taxpayer anywhere between $5,000 and $15,000 so far. And what have we gained from this conflict? Other than proving we are no longer the world superpower for everybody to see? Not much. But let's keep going.
Apologize. Sorry, I've been a critic of that. My allegiance was apparently in the wrong place, and I just want to apologize. Or when Trump goes out there and says, "Hey, Trump, your approval ratings are the lowest it's ever been across all demographics," and Trump says, "Well, you know what? I have a 99% approval rate in Israel. I want to apologize and I want to repent and I want to repent. Apparently, I'm not American enough to go to Freedom 250, but I still got my ticket. So maybe we'll just go. I'll bring the bell and we'll just stand outside the gate and we'll just let them know what we really think about Trump and Israel. Well, you guys.
As you could see, Sean is a very big proponent of his First Amendment right. And he does not hold back. And at this point, can you really blame him? Because I can't. And so, me personally, since Sean has been banned from this event, as much as I would like to watch it, I will not support this event. You're going to ban the only American champion for using his First Amendment God-given right of freedom of speech, and you're going to ban him because you don't like what that speech is. Well, then I can no longer support the event. So not that I make a difference, but I feel better knowing myself that I'm not supporting an event that doesn't support American values. Now, somebody that had probably one of the most eloquent responses when asked about Sean getting banned was somebody that I truly did not expect it from. And that is Bryce Mitchell. And Bryce is another UFC fighter who has had some controversy around him for some of the things that he said. But he was asked by a reporter about what he thought on Sean's ban. And he answered this question. I don't think you could find a better way to answer this question, honestly. So I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna play that for you now because I was thoroughly impressed with Bryce's response to the question.
I'm not surprised at all. I mean, freedom of speech is what really makes this country great. And when you can't criticize a foreign nation, come on, man. We ought to be able to criticize our own nation, let alone a foreign nation. In fact, that's the only nation you're not allowed to criticize. So something's going to change because evil empires don't last forever. There's always a rebellion. You ever seen Star Wars? That's what's going to happen, bro. Darth Vader's going to get took down.
What were your thoughts on the UFC White House just in general? Like, obviously you said that you didn't really want to be on the card anymore, but it's such a spectacle, right?
I don't remember ever saying that.
Okay.
I do want to be on the card.
You do want to be on the card.
I do. And this is what I got to say. First off, I ain't jealous of any of those fighters. I'm so happy for those fighters. I don't think you could have got a better main event. I'm happy for every single last fighter on that card. If they need me to fill in, if I'm healthy, hey, I'll do it. For the UFC, I think it's great. It's beyond great. It's literally the perfect scenario. But as far as I'm an economics major. I love studying politics on the political side of things, not the UFC's business. That is, of course, they're going to say yes to it. But what I think personally is that our government is desecrating its role in society by entertaining sports. Our government is to protect and serve the people, and really should be as minimal as possible. And when you're doing all of this stuff, hosting sporting events, it's really outside of what the goal of the government was intended to be, because our tax dollars and resources are funding this operation. And like I said, I'm not criticizing the UFC. I love Dana, I love Hunter, I love Sean, Mick. I love all of them, and it's an amazing thing. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. But the government should never be hosting sporting events, because there's more room for corruption, and we already have a corrupted government. And so that's my thoughts on it, is that the government is supposed to protect us, not entertain us.
Well, thank you for that information, and good luck on Saturday.
Now, I was not expecting that answer from Bryce, but I think Bryce answered that question about as spot on as you could possibly get. It's great for the UFC. It's fantastic publicity. If I were in the UFC shoes, obviously, I would not turn that down. But it is not the government's place to be holding sporting events on the south lawn of the White House. And if this doesn't draw a comparison to the Roman Colosseum and the fall of the Roman Empire, I don't know what else would. Bread and circuses for the people, to keep them distracted as the infrastructure of the empire crumbles down around them and nobody notices before it's too late. I just wanted to bring up a picture of what the White House South Lawn looked like prior to UFC 250 and what it currently looks like. So on the left, you have what it currently looks like. Which is pretty much unrecognizable from how it did look. I know that they had to remove some of these old growth trees that are around the edge to make room for the stands and the platforming and all the equipment. And yeah, I know that. I know there's a lot of controversy around it. And no, I don't agree with putting this event on at the White House. We could have done it at the National Mall. We could have done it anywhere. Any number of historical American sites that would be a good backdrop for the 250th anniversary of our country. I would not have picked the south lawn of the White House, which is in all likelihood probably going to get destroyed and will never look the same. So what do I think? I think that, oh, before I forget, rumors are flying that the leader of our greatest ally will be in attendance. And if you did not think that we lived in an ongoing episode of Black Mirror, supposedly Erica Kirk is hosting the event. Now, I have watched many a UFC event, and never have I seen a UFC event that has had a guest host. So, unless Erica is going to be a ring girl and throw on a skimpy bikini with that sequence that she loves to wear and walk around with a sign that says round one, or she's planning on replacing Joe Rogan or Daniel Cormier on play-by-play, I don't really know where Erica Kirk would fit into this entire operation. And I don't know how they haven't noticed yet, but every time they force her down our throats, it blows up in their face. So this is probably not going to work. But what do I know? I'm just a guy on the internet making videos about the chaos going on in the world. Do I agree with Sean's ban? No, absolutely not. Sean is an American patriot. Sean is not a threat to anybody there. Sean is only guilty of speaking his mind. And for that, the only American champion has had his tickets revoked. What's the point of the First Amendment if we're not allowed to use it? Or if there are repercussions for saying things that people don't agree with? I'm sure there's plenty of people that aren't going to agree with my take on this video. But that's why we live in a free country. And that's why we have the First Amendment. So we can debate ideas in an open forum. And I don't think Americans realize how blessed they are to have the First Amendment, where we can say what we want, when we want. But the fact that the only American champion has had his tickets revoked and is not welcome at UFC 250 for speaking out against a foreign government is absolutely absurd. And I know I'm not the only one that will not be watching this event. And I am somebody that watches almost every UFC event. But the banning of Sean Strickland from this event is absolutely wrong. And I will not support it. Bryce Mitchell's take on it. I think Bryce Mitchell had one of the best takes that you could possibly have. we should be able to criticize our own government. That is why we have the First Amendment. We should be able to criticize our own government without repercussion. And the fact that Sean is banned from this event for not criticizing our government, but for criticizing an entirely different government is fucking ridiculous. And I can't support it. It's a shame that this is what America in 2026 looks like. Because our founding fathers wouldn't recognize what this country has become. In fact, I am sure they are rolling over in their graves. It is a shame. But I stand by Sean 100%. He should be able to criticize our government. He should be able to criticize another government. And he should do so without repercussion. Just because you don't like what somebody says doesn't make them a threat and doesn't make them a bad person. It just means you guys disagree. So, Sean, if you see this, you have my support wholeheartedly. Bryce, that was one of the best answers that could have been given to the question that you are asked. Our government is here to protect and serve the people, not put on sporting events on the south lawn of the White House. Because you're right. All it does is lead to more corruption. And we have a corruption problem. Guys, that's it. That's all I got for this video. Please like the channel, subscribe, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you'll be watching the event. I unfortunately won't be, but I'm sure there's a ton of people that are going to be. But banning Sean for using his First Amendment right, that's not what the First Amendment was intended for. And if we're celebrating our country, and our country is built around the First Amendment, and he is being punished for using that, well then, what are we really celebrating? So, with that, that's all I got, guys. Drop back in, like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think, and I'll be back with more. Have a good day, guys.